wrestling trading card collectors, and we're doing another episode of what I like to call WTCtv.
Love it.
And today I have, who do we have today? I have my friend Nate.
How's it going?
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well, sir. And you, sir?
I'm doing okay. A lot of sirs here. I don't need where's somebody, is an older person behind me?
I mean, we both got a good bit of gray in our beards. So.
Yes, we do. So, but you and I are no strangers to doing any type of podcasting right now. It's like they're already kind of episodes. We used to do a lot for Velicard stuff for today's topic, which was about Raw Deal, the old WWE Raw Deal game. So, I've been wanting to do an episode where we talk about this game, and I got interviewed for a friend of mine named Zan from Wrestling with Cards, which I highly recommend people go subscribe to them now. Go get them. And then he and I run a podcast called Worlds Collide. So go subscribe to that too, people. Go do it. And he interviewed me talking about Raw Deal cards, and it got me thinking that I wanted to do something for the wrestling trading card community because the definition of trading cards has changed over the years, and especially over the last year and a half to 2 years, where we've had card games like the 1997 and 98 Cardinal Trivia board game. People have been taking that Rocky Maivia card and calling it a first appearance or rookie card, and it's been getting thousands of dollars for that in high grade. So I'm thinking to myself, when I got asked to do an interview talking about Raw Deal, I couldn't think of anything that I thought in Raw Deal that would command something that high anyways, because I can't think of anything in Raw Deal would be a first appearance of any superstar that wasn't already done in a trading card already.
No.
And on top of that, it's just, I think the card community as a whole overlooks Raw Deal as a collectible. And I'm wondering why. Maybe is it because they don't know about it? Because there's nothing in it that would be considered a rookie or first appearance per se. I tend to think that maybe those who really are looking into it might look at it as a very condition sensitive type of card to get graded, because grading is king when it comes to getting high values for stuff. What are your thoughts on that, do you think?
I think you're definitely on the right track with the grading, because when we're talking about the expensive things in Raw Deal, we're always going to be talking about foil cards. And the foils in Raw Deal are very prone to curling. And that's going to make their grades just plummet.
And that's especially on the older product too. When you start looking at Premier through maybe even up through Vengeance, probably, where the foil process wasn't as done well as
I feel
more
like
recent
around
stuff.
Survivor Series 2 was when the foiling process got really narrowed down and ironclad.
And I guess what people also want to know, we probably should have started out that way, is like, why would I be picking you to talk about Raw Deal? What is your background in the world of Raw Deal?
Oh, my background in the world of Raw Deal. Well, I was the #1 ranked player in the world in Raw Deal from, let's see here. It was August to July. I'm blanking on the exact year. It was around WrestleMania 22. So that would be 2006. So August 2005 to July 2006.
Okay.
I also served as the rules manager once the game transitioned over from the print format to the virtual format, and I held that position for 11 years.
Wow. And virtual format, for those who collect cards, what does that mean, virtual format?
So as far as collecting cards, virtual isn't going to help you very much. The virtual format was a way to keep the game going after it went out of print. And we did that by producing new content, and rather than putting it in packs and running through the traditional printing process, we just put the images out and said, okay, get these printed off however you want to get it done. You can have them professionally printed. You can just have them printed on common paper stock and slide them in front of a real card, however you want to do it. But these are ways that we could keep the game moving. And from a collector's standpoint, what that did for the game is, normally when a game dies, there's a ton of stock out there that nobody really cares about. So the prices start to drop like a rock until you have that long shot of a resurgence 10, 15 years down the line where people start to get really nostalgic for something, and then the prices start climbing back up because everybody got rid of their stock. They sold it for cheap, used it for proxies, burned it in a fire, what have you.
Yeah.
Raw Deal never had that happen because virtual kept the game active and moving and kept people buying cards. Because one of the things that we were concerned about and had a clear vision of doing with virtual was not just bricking everybody's old stock. We did not want virtual to be, okay, go print off a deck and play. That's not the environment we were going for. We wanted to make cards to supplement the printed cards, not completely replace all of them, which is why when we did reprints, we always made the reprint worse than the printed card.
Slightly.
So that way the print, yeah, it was subtle things, but we wanted to make sure that those printed cards still held their value so nobody felt like they had just completely wasted years of their lives chasing after these.
Yeah, you don't want to hurt people's, some of those their staple cards, and in that
Yes.
world, you'd be talking about like Revolution the Mine and Get the F Out, and
Mhm.
a lot of these staple cards that just were already in big demand when the game was in print, and then
Yep.
became harder to find years after it stopped being done. And it stopped being done in 2007, I believe.
That's
Right?
correct.
Yeah. So, and that game's lived long. The game's now lived longer in virtual format than it did actual in print.
Yeah, it was 2000 to 2007 in print, and virtual was what, 2009, 2010 when we
I
started.
think late 08, early to 09.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And then it just still going today.
We're still going. Yeah.
Yeah, still going today.
So
I think people don't look at Raw Deal, like collectors who collect trading cards, don't look at it at all for various reasons. I think those who have looked at it, like we said, know, hey, it's condition sensitive, it's very hard. It's like, but you would think that because it's condition sensitive, that they would strive to find certain cards they want in their collection in the most peak, form possible.
you would think that. The other thing that popped into my head is that when you think about trading cards, the big money items that always pop out are the like 1 of 1, 1 of 5, 1 of 10,
Sure.
the chase cards. Raw Deal had one chase card in its entire print run, and it's so chase that practically nobody can even find them anymore. We're talking about cardboard currency.
Yes.
Which is a card that actually has no gameplay benefit. You cannot even include it in a deck. You can't play with it, but only 100 were printed. So if you can find one and people want to buy it, that's big money right there. But that is the only card of that description. Yeah.
I had 4 of them. Should have held on to them.
Well, just find the other 96 and you'll be good to go.
Creed got one of mine. He took mine.
Yeah. I'm sure Baron had one in his collection. So Bruce.
I'm sure he probably did. So I think it's interesting because the Raw Deal card game has got some really cool and interesting designs in there. And you're going to have all your staple guys. Like you talk about your 97 Cardinal games like that for people look for the Rock and Stone Cold from that. There's even now in the last several months, there's been a Panini sticker that came out that features the Rock from 97 as well, but people are calling his true rookie or his true, first appearance. And that one, and a graded 10, our longtime great collector Rob England out there, he had it sent to I think Golden Auction. It sold for $33,000.
Shit.
And of course, prices now have come back down to earth a little bit. Oh, but a benchmark has been set, a floor has been established on some of these cards, and I'm wondering if people will ever kind of delve into the world of Raw Deal and okay, you know what? I kind of like that 4, 5, 6 card set of that Rock from Premiere and stuff like that. That might be worth going after because it's kind of cool. Like, why wouldn't you want to go after it? It's an early Rock. There's more modern stuff of Rock stuff that's selling for good money too. I mean, who wouldn't want to go after an Undertaker card like this?
Yeah, we always called him the evil genie because
the evil genie.
His arms crossed like that. It looks like he should be coming out of a lamp.
And I gotta tell you, this is one of the most pristine conditions I've ever found ever too. It's in really, really good condition too.
Premiere cards are really hard to find in good pristine condition.
I got a whole set here of Premiere guys that are just in immaculate condition. I can't believe the condition quality. These are awesome. So I would think that over time people would probably start looking towards some Raw Deal stuff if they're looking for something to add to their collection. Like I'm a big time, Stone Cold fan. I got to have everything Stone Cold. And do you have Raw Deal cards? What's Raw Deal?
Yeah.
It's just, it's weird because there's other card games out there that people gravitate towards. And hell, there's even like playing cards from the 80s and 90s that people go after that, you know, have the Ultimate Warrior or Big Boss Man on or Mr. Perfect, and they go after those cards. And it's like, there's Raw Deal stuff too. I just don't know if there's any real value there for someone to, you know, long term. I mean, do you think? I mean, you should know, and you've seen it right now recently too. And as a seller of Raw Deal cards, you know, as we talked off air, I mean, who knows? I be coming to an end. Um, the market's gone crazy across the board in all collectibles, and Raw Deal is not.
Yeah,
You know,
the COVID-19 pandemic just
yeah,
made everything shoot up in value because people are sitting at home and
and
wanting
so
to have something to do.
cards that were $30, $40, which was already a high end kind of card for Raw Deal as it was, are now
Yeah.
going for $150, $200 in some cases. You know, these $200 cards, which were the like the high end foot stomp throwbacks and first to tap throwbacks, things like that. You know, those were 200, maybe 150 to 200 range like that. You're now going for $400-500 in some cases. You know, and I don't know if there's shill bidding going on, if there's some padding going on, who's to say? We just know that we see these prices going up, and it is on par with trading cards, and trading cards have shot way up. And I'm wondering, how much longer do you think the Raw Deal trend will continue to keep going? Or because I'm looking at it recently and I'm not seeing the prices falling down as far as trading cards are right now on the secondary market.
So I think the thing that helps to balloon the Raw Deal secondary market and might explain why it's not dropping quite as hard is that there is a game there. With a trading card, yeah, trading cards are wonderful, but when you have your collection, that's it. You just have your collection, you put it in a binder, you display it somewhere, that's it. When you have a game behind it, that gives you an incentive to go out and chase after those cards to use them for something. And like I was just talking about with the COVID-19 pandemic, people have more free time now and they want to do something with that time. So getting to play a game with your friends, even if you're doing it virtually through Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, that gives you an incentive to go after those cards and is going to keep people interested in them. And when people stay interested in something, the value doesn't decline.
And I think it takes those cards off the market now too, which
That's
makes
another good point.
Which makes them even harder to come by,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore the prices start going up. I mean, people will
like we were just talking about the Premier guys. If you want to play Rock and you really want a good Rock deck, you're probably going to want a patented Rock Foot Stomp throwback.
Probably.
And that was only printed in one set in the entire game, which was Survivor Series 3. And that particular set had more ultra rare cards in it than every other set put together, if I remember properly.
I think it's probably
pretty close.
Very close. Yeah.
So the sheer number of foot stomps out there is lower just because it's in such a wide pool. I also vaguely remember, and I could be mistaken about this, but I believe that the throwback ultra rares were even shorter printed compared to the other ultra rares.
You know, people have talked about that before in the past. How do you verify that? Like, is that just like a rumor? Is that a myth? Is that like something you remember from playtesting days, or?
So I'm remembering it more as a rumor. The way to verify that would be we would need to get our hands on a couple uncut sheets of ultra rares. And then we could just sit there and count them out and see if they are short printed on the sheet. But I haven't gotten my hands on a sheet of SS3 ultra rares to try and count it out. And I have a feeling that if any uncut sheets still existed, somebody probably would have cut them up for value by now.
Plus, that'd be a hell of an uncut sheet compared to other releases. It was a big card set of 600 plus cards.
Yeah.
So
that would be like a gold mine just in one sheet.
It really would be. Absolutely. Because even if it represented only one of every card on it's like that, it's still, that's a lot of money there.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone's willing to, you know, spend the time to cut that properly.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with some ultra rares in the past where I bought in some from people who clearly cut them from a sheet. And,
right. And they're just cut with square corners and they look like shit.
Or they try to like round them like that, like, oh, it's okay, it's bad. That looks like shit. And then but you know, I sold them a little cheaper because they were that way. But I don't know about Raw Deal. I don't know if it'll ever be something, because it fits in that time frame too, around 2000 to 2007. So it fits in a time frame when a lot of good card sets came out. It was right during, I mean, Comic Games had the license already, so they were doing trading cards and the Raw Deal game. So you have like that 98 Superstar set that Comic Games just put out. I mean, that Rock card number 5 in that set was commanding a lot of money. I mean, you can still sell it raw. I think it's still going for like $30, raw, ungraded.
That's
And that
really
was a
good for
card set
ungraded.
that I couldn't sell those card sets back in the day for, $20 for the whole set.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are like, plucking that stuff out. So when I come across someone's little box of cards, it's like, yeah, it's got like 6 or 7 of these sets of this superstars. So like, how much you want for it? I'll take $50 for it. All right, I'm done. I'll take it. I mean, now it's like finding gold, but Raw Deal fits in that time frame that has a lot of key superstars. You've got Rock,
You got
Stone
Rock,
Cold,
you got Stone Cold, Triple H, Chris Jericho,
Taker.
and usually you have 2 or 3 different versions of those guys.
Yeah.
Because you get the remakes, and if you get into Revolution, you get the Revolution guys.
Do you collect anything at all? You don't collect trading cards at all, do you?
I'm not a trading card guy now.
Of any kind, have you ever been a trading card collector, even as a kid?
No, when I was a kid, I was playing card games. I wasn't collecting trading cards. I would pick up a couple.
You've always been that card game guy. I get it.
Yeah, I have been since I was like 12.
So you're not even as a kid, like you never played baseball cards as a kid, like you 6, 7, 8 years old?
No, the closest I got was I bought some comic trading cards back when I remember there was a set that was full of featured art by the Hildebrand brothers.
Okay.
And those cards look gorgeous because the Hildebrands are talented as fuck.
Yeah. I think it might have been like an old Fleer Skybox type of release.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That was the only time that I really got into trading cards because they were just so gorgeous that I couldn't let them go.
They're still putting out some amazing Marvel Universe cards like that are just some badass artwork on there. And even from the movie stuff they put out stuff like that too, and they got the whole cast to sign autographs, and it's just it's some pretty cool stuff. I mean, I could easily get drawn back into collecting that kind of stuff, and I have to be very careful of how I want to. And it's already a wrestling trading card collector. It's hard for me not to collect that stuff, and I don't. I buy a little here, buy a little there, but I for the first time in my life, as I mentioned in other episodes, I'm a player collector for the first time. So I've chosen to collect all Kurt Angle stuff. So all I do is collect Kurt Angle cards, low numbered stuff if I can, autograph cards. If it's serial numbered or a variant, I want those because the common stuff I probably already have all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm all after patches and ring mat cards, things like that. So
that's really cool.
And Kurt Angle is part of it. He's part of what, second release?
Kurt was fully loaded, second
release. So I mean that would be one of his earlier cards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he came out, he was, and that came out in 2000.
Was Fully Loaded 2000 or was it early 2001?
So it was Premiere the only release in 2000?
Because Premiere debuted at Gen Con 2000, which was August.
Oh, so it would have to be early 2001. Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine it'd be around February 2001.
Okay.
So and that's just off the top of my head. I don't have anything open to check.
Because his rookie or his first appearance trading card, a lot of people, I mean, outside of his Olympic card from 95, 96, is which is super hard to come by, and I want one so bad. Which they just came out with the new Olympic set. Topps came out with a new Olympic set this year, and he's got an on card, not a sticker, an on card signature in that set.
Oh, that's fucking great.
And I want one so bad. And but he was his first pro wrestling trading card, to my knowledge, and I'm sure people will correct me in the comments of this video, I'm sure.
Of course.
Was in the 2000 Comic Images 2000 No Mercy all silver foil set, where I think he's suplexing Taz.
Okay.
And then not even a few months later, maybe it's like early 2001. Now he has a superstar card. So
he has a superstar card and 3 starter deck cards, 2 ultra rares.
Yep. So that first set, that if there's any looking for early superstars, I guess Kurt Angle might be one of those guys that card collectors who want something early, like a very early release of a superstar. That would be a good superstar to go after, I think.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking too, even Jericho. Jericho, we just did I got interviewed on a Instagram live by a guy, Stacking Slabs, Matt. What a great guy. He had me on to talk about, because there's a Jericho from AAA cards set from 1994 1995, I think it was 1993.
Okay.
And someone's asking $500,000 for it in a BGS 9 on eBay,
Fuck.
which is
Okay.
which is greater than any rock card out there.
Oh yeah.
And nothing to take anything from anybody at all like that, but it's kind of like just throwing it out there and saying, hey, look at me, I have this. And I'm sure if someone offered him $100,000 for it, he'd probably take it. I don't know. But he's also the only guy in the world who's got a BGS 9.5 out there. So
Yeah.
he was smart enough to go out there and get it graded, threw it up there and said, hey, if you want it, here it is, man. Make me an offer.
Yep. Here's the price.
I get the kick out of it. He's still charging $9.99 for shipping, but
Better get insurance in that thing too while you're at it.
For $500,000, I will get a first-class airfare and bring it to you hand delivered.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. And so it's just we want to talk about that, but he didn't have his first trading card inside the States because that was in Mexico.
Right.
And he's not even known as Chris Jericho then. And so he has his first U.S. based one.
Mexico? Corazon de Leon?
Correct. And so his 1998 WCW Topps card would be his first, basically U.S. based trading card. So we're only talking a couple of years difference because he's in the premiere release in 2000. And so there's another superstar that maybe I should go after Chris Jericho stuff. He's still very
especially
popular.
if you're thinking about Chris Jericho in WWF stuff, because as I recall, he made his debut in late '99.
Yes,
because they did the whole Y2J thing.
Yes, so WWF. I mean,
yep.
In trading cards too, the class of 2002 is kind of regarded as a really good class of superstars that came out in 2002, and that would be the Fleer's 2002 WWE Royal Rumble, which I think it was the first WWE product that came out after they changed the name. Well, that also debuts the 4 key guys in that set. So Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Batista, and John Cena are all part of that set. And those cards in high grades, especially Cena, people were asking like $1,000 for those trading cards. And I used to have literally the pure definition of plethora. I had so many of those things. I couldn't sell them for $15 a set. And I finally would, I'd sell them to other dealers at wholesale for $10 a piece. And now I have a couple left and that's it, but I used to have probably 30, 40 sets of that stuff. And that's a good crop. And all of those guys are featured in Raw Deal.
Yes, they are. Brock was in Velocity.
Which came out in what year?
Let's see here. Velocity would have been 2000. It was either late 2003 or no, it would have been 2003.
So we're talking 1 year removed from his trading card. And he had a promo too. So that even came out earlier in the year too. So it's a promo Brock Lesnar card. He's got his starter deck, not to mention the ultra rares for him. So we're talking another superstar that's only 1 year removed. So if I'm someone who say, hey, I'm priced out of getting the trading card from Royal Rumble, but hey, I mean, I can get like his next card, which was probably a Raw Deal card. That Raw Deal
right.
card.
Even before he came out in Velocity, Brock was part of the Ruthless Aggression box set.
Correct.
So there's going to be some Brock stuff in that. That was what Brock, Locke, and Bad to the Bone.
Bad to the Bone. Yeah. And the thing about Raw Deal cards too that I noticed that some people who collect cards don't give a shit about is they don't care that it's a Brock Lesnar specific with his logo on it. If he's got a picture of him on it, they consider that a Brock Lesnar card.
Well, if you just want pictures of superstars, boy howdy, Raw Deal can help you out immensely.
Yes.
Because there were 150, 200 cards in the set, and they all needed pictures. Yep. So a lot of them have the big stars on them to get those cards moving.
Especially even that premiere set, because they took a lot of like, they actually specifically took pictures of like Steve Blackman and Taz in the ring to kind of pretend to do moves because they needed images for the cards.
Or did they do that for Fully Loaded?
I think they even did it for Fully Loaded, didn't they?
I know they did it for Fully Loaded, and I think they used some of those pictures in Backlash too. I don't remember if they did that for Premiere because I think they did that after the game had already started moving.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I think Premiere is just going to have a lot of stock stills, but still, you're talking about pictures that have been taken by WWF, WWE photographers at the events.
Yes.
They're great pictures.
What about
This
even
is
that?
not like some fucking screen caps off a 1998
Correct.
WCW DVD.
Exactly. What about also? It's even let's wind it back even a little further.
Sure.
Before Premiere, we had
Yeah.
the WrestleMania deck exclusives,
We sure did.
and that had a Stone Cold and a Rock. And I had one of
Yep.
those, each of those decks, and I gave them away. Stupidly, I gave them away as prizes. I think Vic, I can't remember his last name. He was a playtester for years. Vic.
Abikian?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I gave one to him. I think I gave one to Albert, from WCW West Coast or West Coast. He was a West Coast champ. But I think he got one. And anyhow, but that come out in 2000 or maybe 99, late 99, didn't it?
I think that was 2000. If I remember correctly, and feel free to correct me in the comments, I believe that was given out at Fan Access at WrestleMania that year.
Yes, that's where I got it
to
at.
drum up interest ahead of Gen Con.
That was in Anaheim at
So that would
Fan
have been
Access,
2000.
Because I was there. That's where I got that, and I was like, okay, I'll take some of those. I'll take one of each of those. I don't care for any more of those. And I got that pamphlet too, that rule book for they're going to do a role playing type game as well. And so I got some of those, and I'm like, I guess I'll take some of that. But I was really interested. I was into trading cards. I didn't play Raw Deal.
Well, nobody played Raw Deal. It didn't exist yet.
Well, I had no interest in a card game. Period. I was like,
Right.
I wanted the trading cards, and they were doing these oversized 3 cards, fan all access fan fest exclusives, 1 of 3 through 3 of 3, with 1 of 3 being, I think, Big Show, 2 of 3 being Triple H, and 3 of 3 being The Rock. And so I'm like, I wanted those. I wanted those. Do I have them? I don't have them here. Damn it. Normally, I've been pulling stuff out of my butt lately. All kinds. I do have them. Hold on. I have them.
Here we go.
Just trust me. I've been asked many times now. I'm going to start doing Tony Storage Unit finds. So here is the card number 1. It's an oversized card.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So it's a little bit of embossed and foiled, and the back will tell you
the shine there. Yep, beauty.
And so that would be number 1. Which these are also 1 and 2 are very hard to find. 3 is almost impossible to find.
I can believe it.
And so,
love it.
And then of course, again, exclusive on the back.
I love the little Comic Images logo on the bottom right of the back.
Oh yes, of course, you got to have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's the hard one to find is the Rock.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Giving out that rock bottom right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
To Triple H, no less.
Oh, of course.
And so nice little fact as well. I know somewhere in storage I've got it. I have 2, maybe 3 uncut sheets of that.
Awesome.
But
that'll make somebody very happy.
Well, and they're not to be it's not to be understood that it's an uncut sheet of all those cards. What they did to make room, because Comic Games had a lot of licenses back then for trading cards. They had Olivia and Jennifer Janesco, Conan. They had a lot of fantasy art stuff, and then they got the WWE license. But they also had a license for Hot Wheels.
Okay.
So it's a Hot Wheels chromium trading card collection, and the bottom of that sheet is 1 row of those cards.
Yeah.
So I have I'm pretty sure I have 3. I know for a fact too, but pretty sure I have 3 uncut sheets of that have the Hot Wheels stuff on it with those 3 cards in the bottom.
There's gonna be some Hot Wheels collector out there that's like, what the fuck are these wrestling cards doing on my uncut sheet?
On my uncut sheets. I gotta probably just cut them off and throw them away.
Yeah, probably.
But if you even go on eBay looking for those, you might find the Triple H and the Big Show one, but you're going to be really hard pressed to find that Rock one. It goes for a decent amount of money, I would assume, because I've never seen one sell. But I would imagine with the way the market is these days, it probably would hold some kind of value to it. So
I'm sure it would.
There's a lot of stuff that Comic Game just put at that time that would be some good stuff. Matter of fact, well, it's a trading card. There was a trading card set that Comic Images was supposed to put out when they lost the license for WWE, and it was a Diva set.
Yeah.
That coincidentally is featured in a little tiny mini advertisement in the back of the rule book of the very first Premiere rule book. There is there's an advertisement for the Rock Solid set, which is the Rock All About Him trading card set, and then an advertisement for the Diva set that never got released.
Yeah.
And my understanding is only 8 of the 8 card set ever got printed of those cards. I have those.
Of course you do.
Well, I have one set. It was so nice of them when I used to call them, and Ron Ferrari, I used to talk to him. He was the editor of all that stuff. He did all the Raw Deal stuff too. He used to edit that kind of stuff. And then I was good friends with Alan Gordon, and I would talk to him quite a bit at Comic
Alan
Con
Gordon
San
was such a
Diego.
sweetheart.
Such
Love
a
that
great
guy.
guy. Him and Hank, I like both those guys were great.
I never got to hang out with Hank.
Hank could be a ball buster,
I
but
probably would have liked him more then.
yeah, and that's kind of why I liked him.
Yeah.
But those guys used to be my contacts there for all the time, and I would call and talk to Ron, and Ron was so good to me about getting information about trading cards, and I kept saying, dude, I did not know that this promo card set existed. I just saw it in the back of a rule book, or I can't remember where I saw it. And I kept hitting him up. I go, I'm pretty sure we have one laying around here somewhere. I said, we keep one copy of every card we've ever printed for, archiving purposes.
Yeah, of course.
And I go, okay, well, I'd love to get scans, images, something I can have so I can show proof that they exist and I can put them on the checklist on WTC back in the day. And he goes, you know what? You're a hardcore collector. How about I just scan them myself? I'll send you the set. and that's how I got a hold of the set.
It's good to have friends.
Yeah, good to have friends. But let's kind of close things out here a little bit about some Raw Deal. And I think people should probably I think collectors should give Raw Deal a look. I really do. I think there's
definitely a lot of really cool cards in the Raw Deal sets. And I think one of the things that makes them very cool for collectors, not just that they have all these really cool images on them, but the foils. In every set except Survivor Series 3, they did kind of a 2-layer foil deal where most of the card is foil and some parts of the card are not foil to help them stand out. And I know when you hear that, that sounds, oh, that's crap. They should just foil the whole card. But when you're actually sitting there looking at the card, having that dual layer foiling makes them really pop and they look really cool just in a sleeve or in a hard top, just sitting on a shelf.
And do you think that hurt just long-term value for a collector though, because of the peeling?
No, because I've never, and I do seriously mean never, had a Raw Deal card peel on me.
Okay. And I think another side effect of finding mint cards for Raw Deal is because people play their cards. So they're going to have some sort of playwear on them.
Yes.
So when you come
Even
across,
if they're in sleeves, they're still going to have some playwear on them, because there's a practice in Modern Magic called double sleeving, where you take a perfect fit sleeve and put it inside the sleeve, so that way there's a perfect seal. We didn't do that back in Raw Deal. Nobody had ever thought about
that. Nobody cared because they're wrestling fans, man. They're dirty, Not
going there. That's your words, sir, not mine. But I will say that a lot of the interest in the game was in playing the game.
Yes, because I noticed
we took care of our cards, but it wasn't like we have to make sure this is mint 10 perfect grade. No,
because you weren't collecting to collect from that aspect. You were collecting to play and build decks and disassemble and put something else together for your cards and like that. I think it's definitely a series of cards that, if trading card collectors out there who are watching this, it's something that's good to look for, to add, to supplement your collection. If you're a player collector, in this case, a wrestling collector, whatever, and you're looking for something different off the beaten path of your trading card stuff, Raw Deal is a cool thing to find some cool images, whether it be a superstar specific or have like a picture of Brock Lesnar doing some sort of weird, backbreaker torture rack. Something, it's just got some cool, badass images on there. It doesn't have to be foil. It could be a regular playing. There's promo cards.
Yeah, even the regular cards are super high quality.
And, I would like to see some of these actually getting graded someday. I really like to see someone actually go out there. Because I think to me personally, as a Raw Deal person, I think one of the hardest cards in all of Raw Deal for me to find in a, what you would call a gem mint condition, it's going to be the Cactus Double Arm DDT.
Oh yeah,
I really think that,
because Cactus Jack was only printed in one set. It was the first Survivor Series set, and even more so than Premier, Survivor Series 1 cards are not very easy to find, and they tend to come to you in less than stellar condition, because that was a set that a lot of people would just crack open packs, sort through them stuff, and then just play those cards over and over and over.
It was also
Especially
the first,
Cactus, because he never got reprinted. So
yeah.
if you wanted to play Cactus, you had to be playing with those old Survivor Series 1 cards.
And Survivor Series SS1, as people call it, SS1, SS2, SS3.
Yep.
SS1 had it's the first time they ever had the best of. So it was a great way
Yep.
for a player to get, it's like, well, I didn't know about this game. I can get right into SS1 and I can really get myself caught up. So
Yep.
they introduced reprints of old, superstars, and they reprinted some new who had never been reprinted before. And Cactus was one of those guys. And that card, to me, I found a collection here in Phoenix where it was someone who collected. It was the first time I ever met or knew someone. Of course, the guy I bought it from someone else who was selling for someone whose husband passed away.
Yeah.
And he didn't play, he collected. And so everything was in a binder, sleeved in a binder, and in pristine condition. And it had a Cactus double arm BDT in it. And I'd never seen one. And I told, Mike, my partner, I said, you need to scan this. This is the one we have to scan. It's an amazing condition. To me, I just think it's so hard to find that card of, all the years of my experience in Raw Deal. There's a lot of them. They're like, I can still find those pretty plentiful. You can find a paid laden made, pretty easily out there. It's been taken well care of, but finding a Cactus double arm BDT is really hard to find.
Yeah.
Even some of that older stuff, even Premier stuff, it's still, you could find, I could find a Premier Stone Cold face card. I got one right here.
Finding a Premier Stone Cold face card that's been taken good care of,
it's hard.
Rather than it just got played so many times and then it got replaced and the old one just got shoved in a binder somewhere and forgot about it.
It's hard to find, but they do exist. And I mean, I've got one right here. I'm telling you, it's in where I got this from. It's in just amazing conditions, just such amazing condition. Even like the US title belt that came out was an amazing condition. And that's something else too. I mean, it's, I don't know if players would collect that. That's an interesting topic. I'm going to write that down and actually have a conversation that people collect certain cards that don't feature superstars.
That's interesting.
Because in gaming, we have title belts and things like that. And speaking of games now too, one of the popular games out there is Slam Attacks. Topps has that game, Slam Attacks. Now, it didn't start out very strong. And people here in the States, I think to this day, still don't collect it to play. It's very well received internationally, like soccer, just not here. But in the UK, where it really thrives, and I've done several interviews with people. I have a series on my channel called Collectors from Around the World. So I've interviewed someone from the UK. I've had someone from Malaysia. I've had someone from Australia on. And we talk about what their market's like for collecting cards. And number one in all those places has always been Slam Attacks. Well, Slam Attacks recently has been upping their game and making it not just about being a card game. It's also now a collectible card. It's a trading card because now they offer autographs randomly inserted in packs. They had one now for the new one where they had a piece of the gravel in it from the Boneyard match.
That's cool.
They've had memorabilia type cards now they've been adding. And they're numbered and so they're kind of grabbing the trading card collector and the gaming card collector and kind of doing that. So I think Raw Deal is sort of overlooked in that because it did that already, except for the memorabilia stuff. It did autographs.
It did do autographs because we had a run of backstage signature cards that were offered as prize support.
They did 2 series of that. And
there was backstage signature and backstage signing appearance.
And I think one of those had a wave 1 and a wave 2.
I think it was a signing appearance had wave 1 and wave 2. The signatures were just kind of there.
And what kind of superstars could people want to go collect and try to find for that? They're genuine autographs too, by the way.
Yes. This is not like we had Triple H sign 100 stickers and just stick them on cards.
Correct. These are all on cards.
They literally signed the card. Well, I just said one of the big names, Triple H.
And he's very limited.
10.
Only 10.
Yep.
Him and Randy Orton are the lowest numbered ones at 10.
Yep.
Who else? We had Eddie Guerrero signed.
Yes. Did Eddie Guerrero sign it 2 different ways?
There's regular Eddie Guerrero and there's one Latino
and then
Heat.
Diva La Raza? Or no, Latino Heat. There you go.
Yep. So there's 2 versions of that. There's Big Show signed. We had, there's a lot. Tori Wilson, if you collect her, there's a lot of cool autographs to go out and look. And those used to be pretty plentiful. And the Raw Deal world, plentiful is, 200 cards signed.
Yeah.
And Comic Images was very nice to even show you on their old website. They would break it down like how many of these waves,
they broke
and
it
how
down by
many
the exact numbers.
and how many each person signed.
Mm-hmm.
So we know how many exist in the world that were released by Comic Images. Now we're not going to be talking about people who take a Nunzio who they didn't like and scratch it off and then get someone else to sign, because you can kind of tell those from something else.
Yeah, it's very clear when somebody took an eraser and just erased the pen. If you use rubbing alcohol, it's a little less clear, but it's still obvious.
But you take those autographs, and all of those, by definition, in the collectible world for trading card, are extremely low print runs. Because wrestling as a whole is printed as a low
I have
print
something
run.
relevant to this discussion.
Sure.
Let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
Sure, no problem. I don't think I've ever had a guest just get up and walk away before, but here we go. Walking away. I think if he's going to bring something back, it'd be very interesting to see if we have a signed card. In Raw Deal, the print runs were probably typical to a normal trading card run. But when you start talking about people playing their cards, what's available, and people would oftentimes mark them up and write on them, which they call proxies, because they didn't say, well, I don't have this particular card, so I'm going to make this one my card. I was just talking while you were out, just like that, saying another key component too, by making cards kind of limited. Now there'd be lower end stuff like that, but people would take cards and say, well, I don't have Revolution of the Mind, but my group allows proxies, so I'm going to go ahead and just write on this, clutch and put Revolution of the Mind. So now you're just taking more cards out of the market, off the collectible world. And so the print runs as a whole are pretty low.
So you talked about wave 1 and wave 2, and the more I think about it, the more I think it was the backstage signatures. Because one of the things that I've still kept, and I've never actually sat down and thought about what I would even sell this for, is I have a complete set of the 3 M&M signatures. So I got Mercury, Nitro, and Melina. And then in the signing appearances, they had a Jillian Hall, so I added that to the set because she was their fixer.
Right, exactly. That's awesome.
Complete M&M signature set.
That's awesome. And those are all on card.
Those are all on card.
Straight from Comic Images, who got those straight from their relationship with WWE.
Correct.
So these are not like someone made homemade cards, which is another thing we have a lot in the world right now, because of technology allow people to make things. Trust me, I know all about printing cards. I mean, and the downfalls of doing that.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another day.
But so many people are creating their own cards and doing one-offs themselves and printing autograph cards. I mean, pretty famous right now are the 1998-99 WCW series that came out. So they had 3 releases that came out in those years, and Topps did those, and they had on-card signatures, 37 potential pack pull ones in Series 1, 37 different autographs in the NWO Nitro set, 27 different autos in the emboss set. So there's 101 total different superstars you can pull from packs. And then we've been finding over the years now, especially recently, we've been finding certain superstars that never return their cards are now finally hitting the secondary market after 20 plus years of never seeing the light of day. There's been a Mongo McMichael one that just surfaced recently, that not signed, but are legit. They never got returned. The Rey Mysterio ones, which I've told people many times, I made those available to the public when I got them from him. There was a one Ric Flair one made its way out there. Someone just did I did an interview with the guy who made it available, a Mike Enos, that no one ever saw before. Booker T has 2 versions. I mean, there's just all these different kinds of. It's the sets that I say keeps on giving, because here we are 20 some odd years later, and there's new things being discovered. These backstage prize cards they're on card signatures. They're beautiful cards. They feature legit signatures. They don't have to be the Melina is not a picture of Melina. It doesn't have to be that. So it's weird when you have a superstar, someone look like, well, it doesn't have Brock Lesnar on it. Why would I want him? Kind of thing. Well, because it can be played by Brock Lesnar. Don't it's just that kind of thing. So those are really hard to find cards, and I think those have high collectability, and those don't get tossed around a lot like regular cards do. You sleeve them, you put them on the table, and you view them.
The backstage signatures is that they never got shuffled into your deck.
Correct.
They were always just in the backstage area. So these cards generally just stayed in top loaders or things like this.
Yep.
I know whenever I used my backstage signatures, they stayed in a hard pack top loader. The instant I got them as a tournament prize, they went straight into a hard pack top loader.
And then,
in fact, I think my store just gave them out in hard pack top loaders.
You just lay them down on the table and you never touch them again.
Yeah.
really. And so they have the least amount of play than any of the cards in Raw Deal for the most part. So, I mean, I think those should be highly sought after by collectors out there. I mean, if you can't go out and buy, because to date, other than a cut signature, I can't think if there's any other Eddie Guerrero autograph cards that he ever did. And
I can't remember any off the top of my head either.
I don't remember if he signed for Topps. I don't think because he passed away just as Topps got the license in 05.
Right.
So he doesn't have any authentic, official, certified autograph card by Topps in their products like that, other than the one he did for WCW. So if you want another on-card signature by Eddie Guerrero, Raw Deal's the place to go to. That he did
And if
as
you
a
want an on-card
WWF
signature,
superstar.
If you want an on-card signature as Latino Heat, not going to happen in WCW.
Not going to happen. I think there's a few that he did sign Latino Heat in
WCW?
Yes.
Really?
I think. I could be wrong. There's something. Somebody did something. The Chris Benoit one, he did an inscribed. He inscribed four horsemen on it. On those. Which I was surprised that Raw Deal never got him to sign. Granted, he was the guy, I think, at the first World Championships. Didn't he hand out prize? Like, he was like one of the guys you got to meet.
I don't remember because that was before I got into the game.
I think because that guy I interviewed who was the first Raw Deal champion, I think that was Mike
Canoe. Yeah.
Yeah, I did interview him, I believe. And he had a picture of himself in like a magazine, like a Scry or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. Scry or Inquest.
Inquest, where he, they talked about Raw Deal. It's a new card game, and the World Championships, and it showed him with Chris Benoit, and stuff like that, and a belt and stuff like that. Everything.
It's really cool.
And I thought that's kind of weird. He never signed for them. I wonder why. But there's a lot of cool stuff in Raw Deal. I think collectors out there should go out and check it out. It is highly and very condition sensitive if you want to go that route and looking for grading purposes, but if looking for something to add to your collection to like, hey, kind of complete it. Like, I got everything I need of, Stone Cold, what else could I possibly get? Raw Deal. What's Raw Deal? Okay.
Right.
Well, I guess you don't have everything you need when it comes to cards and Stone Cold.
And then when you whip out that fancy shiny foil Stone Cold card, all your friends can be like, what is that?
What is that? That's so cool. So I think it's important people kind of know about all the different types of cards out there. People are gravitating towards cards, trading cards. They have been over the last year plus now going towards card games. I think Raw Deal gets overlooked because we've got the Slam Attacks, we've got the old Cardinal games, we've got other kinds of gamings and stuff like that. And I think even though Raw Deal doesn't have any like rookie cards or first appearance type cards, they got like some, hey, I can't afford the rookie, I'll get the next level down, which is this one. I think Raw Deal's got a lot of stuff. So, but that's it for Raw Deal, man. You got anything else about Raw Deal stuff?
I think we covered it.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time. Come on, talk
hey,
about
I
Raw
appreciate
Deal.
you having me.
I always love talking to you, man. When we did our valid card stuff, I look forward to having a conversation with you. I don't think we're gonna be doing. Mutual. I don't think we're gonna be doing much more of those videos anymore, but
who knows?
Who knows? Never. It's like wrestling. Never say never.
No, absolutely not. Never say never.
Well, everybody, if I hope you learned something from this episode. If you have comments, suggestions, questions, you don't like that beard on Nate's face, leave it in the comments below. Let him know.
I'm not changing it. So.
Well, it's okay. I mean, it's all right. I mean, but if you have any other questions like that, I mean, I know enough about Raw Deal I could probably answer you, but when it comes to the intricate details of like the old school days, rules, this is the guy we got to talk to right here. I think it'd be good to know all those things from you, man. That's why I wanted you on the episode. So
I'm always happy to share what I know.
But yeah, I think that's it, man. So
right,
I guess until next time, I guess we're going to be out of here.
All right, take care.